Go ahead and start our process here with the roll call. I'll turn it over to Bob Bell.
Acadia 2, absent. Andover A, absent. Andover B, absent. Andover C, absent. Andover E, absent. Andover G, absent. Andover H, absent. Bedford D, absent. Bedford E, absent. Bedford F, absent. Bedford J, absent. Brookfield.
Here. Name?
Last name, please.
Edwards. Thank you.
Cambridge E, absent. Cambridge F, absent. Cambridge K, absent. Cambridge L, absent. Canton Court D, absent. Dorchester D, absent. Edinburgh, absent. Last name, please. Sir, can you repeat your last name again?
Thank you.
Thank you. Fairfield B, absent. Fairfield D, absent. Fairfield E, absent. Fairfield F, absent. Gloucester A. Last name, please. Merritt.
Gotcha.
Gloucester C, absent. Gloucester F, absent. Gloucester G, absent. Gloucester J, absent. Gloucester K, absent. Gloucester L, Faust. Gloucester N, absent. Highgate E, absent. Highgate 3, absent. Highgate 4. Dan Hector. Huntington, absent. Idlewood, absent. Inverness, absent. Knowles 1, absent. Knowles 3, absent. Lancaster 2, absent. Lyndhurst.
Here.
Last name, please.
Hunsler.
Thank you.
Manchester 3, absent. Manchester 4, absent. Nantucket 4.
Here,
Last name?
McCausland.
Thank you.
Oxford 2.
Present.
Last name?
Canerza.
Thank you.
Quail Pass, absent. Yorkshire, Absent. No, I have somebody in Radisson too.
Radisson two's here?
Radisson 2 is here.
No, absent.
Someone check. It's Radisson 2. He came in to check in. Yeah. So he left.
Nobody checked in with me.
Oh, he was here when talking. It's okay. So he's not here.
Absent. And then that's what we're saying,
Yorkshire. Absent. Mr. President, you have a quorum of 72.2 units represented by 73 associations.
Thank you, Marvell. All right, very good. We'll call the meeting to order, and if you would join me in pledging allegiance to the flag. Thank you. First thing on our agenda is approval of the September 20th, 2019 draft Federation membership meeting. Do I have a motion to accept that as written?
So moved.
So moved. All in favor? So moved. So we'll post it as written. If there's any questions or any corrections that need to be addressed, bring those to Janice Kincaid, and she will take care of the examination on that. All right, that takes us to our management reports. To start with, we will begin with Rick Boswell with First Service.
Testing 1, 2. Good morning. There we go. The First Service Residential completing the monthly financials, and if you want a schedule if you're an appointment, contact our office. Debbie Lauber would be happy to do that. The other add-on news is the insurance refund from 2015 due to an over-collection by the Florida Citizens Assessment. Checks will be deposited into your association operating account this month. HOAs did not receive a check, and 19 COAs did not receive a check as they did not overpay. So, that's about 87 or 88 or so won the lottery, or, they did the scratch-off, they did that. So you'll receive the check, and it'll be in your October financials. If you have any further questions, you'll be getting a letter along with the check, and so that's always good news. Next. We have finalized the schedules for the annual meetings, and also processing the 2020-2021 budget process. And we appreciate you working with your managers regarding any specific items that you want to see on your budget. This is a great time to do it before we provide you the first draft of your budget with the numbers that you had. Some of them we duplicate from last year, and we add in all the new bulk contract figures that we have, and so that's how we put that together. And you'll have additional information, but Tuesday at 8 a.m., I'm not sure who's going to provide coffee and donuts, but that's the normal time that at least 40 associations show up to pick up their budget packets. So that's the exciting day, and that's the Tuesday before the Friday meeting. All right? So budgets, always exciting. Next. The First Service Residential is also working with the Contract Committee and Terminex in meeting the pest control services for Kings Point and regarding Terminix's performance. The action plan that was put together should show results by the end of October. First Service Residential is also coordinating an insurance RFP process with the assistance of the insurance committee. The graded inspection is set for the end of October, where OLM comes in and grades the contractors. And we also, as you know, we've talked about, we also have, the scoring is on a 50-50. 50% of the 100% is scored by quantity, and that is being tabulated on a day-in, day-out basis on how they are delivering the number of deliverables and schedule, keeping the schedules, etc. Your work orders are also a component of the quantity score that we provide OLM at the end of his scoring. He scores 50% of the 100% based on the quality of the services that are provided by the contractor. So that's what's going to happen on those days. And we meet on the 30th with the contractors to give them their final score. The 2019 mulch program, I don't know if I've ever been able to say this in October. The contract program delivery and installation is nearing completion. There's a punch list that is being developed, and if you have any additional needs, Mabel notify her of any additional mulch bags that you need, or you need something that might have been missed. They are planning, the Florida Mulch is going to be on October 28th. The week of the 28th is when they're going to be back. I just want to say, and I know I would be remiss if I didn't say everybody's room that signed and Mabel beat you up. I mean, she notified you that it was time for you, or could you come in and sign your paperwork or complete your paperwork. But I just think this year, and I've been through a lot of mulch rodeos, and it's just a great team effort with Daryl and Mabel and Susan, working very closely with each one of you association boards and Florida Mulch, Sean and his team. We had a few glitches, but Mabel straightened that out by a quick conference meeting, like ASAP. So what's happening now? The invoices are being processed for payment. So congratulations to everybody. We're moving through the mulch. We're almost at the end. They appreciate you approving those invoices to get their cash flow. Next. The work orders that we were talking about, as part, which these are September scores. We will have the work orders that will be utilized as scoring for October, and there'll be 4 weeks that we have. But for September, these are the number of work orders. We had 97 last month, and in August, and this month we had 87. So we appreciate you. If you see something that might have been missed, please put, or damaged, or any other type of pruning, damage, cleanup, weeds, or you need a proposal. This is the work order system that you're to utilize, and all of these are tracked on your Connect system with First Service, and you're able to see those as a board member on your various website. So that's a progress, and again, Denny Shapaka, Mabel, and the team is stepped up, and you have for documenting those items that need to be a work order. So it's a great tracking system, and we're utilizing it every day. Thank you. Next. These are the transfers, property transfers and lease applications through September. And you can see that we're, from this year to date, 413, which is not quite 10%, about 8%, I guess, of the total units that are in, homes that are in Kings Point. So it's the next 3 months, that number will be close to the 500 amount. So leases, they're not as strong. They're about 50 leases less than last year. And so you can see that on the graph. Next. I left this slide here because I heard on the news today that there's, let's see, something out here that's coming this way, or this way, or this way, or... So all I'm saying is, continue to be ready. Don't let your guard down, okay? So we're hoping and believing the best, but all of these things, and I don't want to have you repeat it because you already know it by heart, that's the number. If you have a non-medical emergency, 813-642-8990. Got it. Right? That was the deal. So anything else goes there. And Mike Bardell and his team covers those. And then the last screen is just a reminder to have a great month and to update your emergency contact information or any changes that you have with your emails so that any information that needs to go out to you gets to you in a timely and efficient manner. Thank you, appreciate you, and that's it.
Thank you, Rick. All right, before we go forward, I just want to make a quick reminder. We have operating procedures for Federation meetings, and in those operating procedures, they dictate what we all, as members of our community, do and don't do. One of the things that is listed in there, and it is part of a contention that you will be probably hearing more of now that I'm making this announcement, is there is no additional recording allowed inside this meeting, being a private meeting of the members only, and sharing information that we don't necessarily want disseminated in an improper, prejudiced way, edited or whatever, to get out. We record it for ourselves, for our records, and make it accessible to people if they do want to look at it and view it. Anybody doing a private video needs to turn it off and not do it because it violates our operating procedures. So I just want to bring that to everybody's attention. There are reasons why those things have been put in place over time. We try to maintain them. We can discuss them moving forward and certainly make any alterations and adaptations if we'd like. But at this point, we are working with the operating procedures that we work with. So with that being said, I'd appreciate compliance with that, and we'll move forward. So from there. Next meeting is with Ginger, next management report is with Ginger.
So did anybody grow up in the Midwest and know the jingle for Empire Carpet? You probably still remember that phone number, right? So I'm thinking you need to come up with a jingle for your non-emergency phone number.
Ginger, if you'll hold for just a second. At this point, Jane, your red light is, I'm sure, attached to a camera. You either turn it off or you'll have to leave the room. Can you turn it off? You and I actually discussed this, and you agreed that we would go with ours at that point. Now you came in and violated what you told me. Thank you. And we'll discuss that afterwards. I'm not closed off to the idea. I just want to make sure I'm following the procedures. You and I did discuss it. We both agreed, and then it shows up. So that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. We can discuss it. I'm not closed off to that. I'm just saying at this moment we're in a venue where we don't need to be having this discussion. We need to be having this discussion. So if you work with me here, I'll work with you there. Fair enough? Okay. That's okay. At this point, we'll have to accept that as we agree to disagree, but at this point, no filming this morning. But that's where we're going to go. Gene continue, Ginger. Thank you.
All right, well, I was just going to assign Vicki the job of coming up with the jingle, so that, just so everybody remembers the number. Just a little levity, folks, sorry. Okay, let's get started here. Entertainment Year Summer Series report. This isn't quite final because the last show was October 17th, but we'll be getting that final number to you. It's going to be close to that, but just over $23,000 on revenue for those tickets. Here is your Winter Series brochures. They are out. There's actually a December show this year. Periodically we get one slipped in there in December. It's always a busy month in this theater with all the holiday parties and functions. But if you look at the list there, Everly Brothers, you've got the Three Dog Night Experience, Changes in Latitude. So the trend is going towards some of the younger demographic of residents that we have here today. But we still have Glenn Miller. So we've got quite a spectrum, so hopefully y'all will look at the Winter Series and come on out and enjoy the show. We've got a couple of upcoming events here, the Fall Expo in the Veterans Theater on October 25th. We've got a food truck rally on November 4th coming up. That's from 4 to 8 with the Sunset Social Club. I got that right this time. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. This is a new program event that Matthew is bringing in on November 20th. And we've got the Brandon Ballet December 15th. And sorry, New Year's Eve already sold out. It happens quick, folks. So that's always a very popular event. Here's your fitness center usage. I won't read all these numbers, but you can see how we've tracked 2017, 18, or 19. The board wanted some trends put up there. So the top section is month, and then the bottom is the year over year, just year to date from April to September. And for those of you who are more visual, here's the picture of what that looks like, with 2017-18 being in green, and then the current year in red. So that's the fitness usage. That's just going in and using the gym, and then the participants in the group exercise programming, and those combined. By the time we end the year, you know, it's over 100,000, 120, 40,000, something like that, participants. So it's a very popular program, and we show that usage. Here's your spa usage for September. Actually, a dip in sales for September, 18,000. We're usually hovering around the 20,000 mark, so I guess people didn't need as much hair and nails that month. And then the new spa program, we're almost at the year end where the board wanted a trial program here offering to CA members. You can see total CA clients to date, 287, just bringing in shy of 16,500 additional revenue. And when November 1st comes, we'll give the board that final report, and they'll opt whether to continue that program or not. I would suspect so. Here is just the 5 years since we've opened that spa. You can see this is just April through September, their sales and merchandise. Sales, and always nice to see an increase year over year of participation in the programs. If we were to see sharp declines, obviously we'd question whether those were programs we wanted to continue or not. Guest pass and badge sales for September, over 715. We've got, the 7 is replacement badges, I'm sorry. The ID.me project, we have confiscated 14. I was asked to provide that number of people that didn't meet the program, and I had a man come in the other day and said, hey, I hear I'm supposed to return this badge. What do I do with it? So, you know, best laid plans, you try to put out as much communication as you can, but still people don't know there's a lot of folks out there. So we're just pleased that, you know, that when we find them and notify them, they're like, oh, sure, I'll get a new badge. So the armband events, 95 events we've tracked so far. We started off at 6% and steadily declining. Not sure if that means more and more people are aware they have to purchase, or they're not bootlegging it and getting in, but less than 5% outside guests attending those events. And there's your pointer ad sales for September and the annual sales. We always point out that goes to offset the cost of producing those. We do print probably about 4,000 a month, a very popular form of communication in the Kings Point community. Lottery sales, just fun numbers to look at there. Just under about a little over $10,000 in ticket sales for September, and the lottery commissions were $348. They're pretty stingy with those commissions. So recreation still will have the transportation numbers within them, so the revenue collected for that the coach trips was $4,582. And here's some projects underway. We've got the replacement tram delivery. We were notified it has arrived to the vendor. We had expected it mid-October. They said they'll have it here in about a week. So that'll be your new tram. The tennis restroom and gazebo projects, facelifts are underway. The 2020 door entry sliding glass door project is completed. So note, folks, we have various projects. We've got a report here of about 26 badges that were damaged or expired. There's people that are inactive, that are one-year badges that come in, and it's been kind of nice because we're able to find those folks. We're repairing them as they come in, but please note, don't punch a hole in them because there is an RFID chip in there, and some people like to put an extra hole for their key ring or whatever, but that will damage the chip. So we're finding them, the staff's able to reprint, and it's right there at the front, so things that have happened out at the golf cart gate have been a little bit more invisible to us. But we've so far replaced 25 of those. And then construction of the new lawn bowling green has been completed. The project is under review. Rudy is working with the vendor and lawn bowling representatives, also getting some peer feedback on the satisfactory conditions there. He will be reporting his findings to the board, and we'll decide what we're going to do there moving forward. Security, we've got passes issued at the gate. It was a very busy September for those folks, over 11,000 passage. Security patrol drove 3,700 miles within the community at night. 49 incident reports, and total auto and golf cart decals issued over 7,200. I won't read your phone stats there, but those are just always interesting because it's a very, very active gate operation up there. And finally, just a reminder, we've been putting this out there for a while. This is a warning in an effort to support the master's efforts to keep people off of the grass and the irrigation, the sprinkler heads. You might see this on your vehicle. This is with relation to the trust property, not the master, but they had encouraged us to kind of mirror their efforts to try and get the news out that just stay off the grass. There are some areas with cornhole where people are used to pulling up there and playing their games. A golf cart's a little different, but a vehicle out there is a little harsher on the grass in various conditions. So if you get one of these, it's really just saying, hey, could you watch what you're doing and park and be a little more conscientious. Because these are appearing on cars, people sometimes will come in and get a little feisty about it, but it's really in an effort to protect your property and try and do the best we can. A lot of acreage out there, and I know sometimes the shortest point between where you want to park and where you want to go is where you want to be. So just help be part of the solution, and don't get quite so feisty. We're trying to help out the whole community, and that's my report.
Thank you, Ginger. Yeah, that's also one of my pet peeves is parking on the grass, particularly in associations and breaking your sprinkler heads and stuff. So I agree 100%. And also just so you guys know that carding ID, part of an effort that security has made to catch people that come in without necessarily reasons to be here, or they slip in and slip out of other places, doing more hard carding, showing your ID. Just be patient. It's kind of like right after 9/11, I flew many miles. I was actually in Washington, D.C. on 9/11. I had to drive home when the planes opened back up. I was flying on, virtually every day, and standing in long lines, getting patted down, being checked, and all I said to the security guards when they did it was thank you, because that's how you keep things solid, that's by checking people out. It's just the way it is. So if you want security, you have to realize there is a sacrifice of your own personal timing at that point to make it right, to catch people on doing the right things. All right, very good. We have on our committee reports, we're going to start today with Rick Massonet with the KPCPC, the Kings Point Promotions Committee. They're going to do a presentation of some research they've put together recently that may help us understand a little bit more about our value of our property. Rick?
Good morning, everyone. Earlier this year, Ryan, our Federation president, felt the need to develop a committee that would look into where Kings Point is, where we want to go, and how we're going to get there. That was the beginning of the Community Promotion Committee, and it's responsible for exploring and researching many different areas that pertain to an over 55 community. One of our efforts was to research other retirement communities to get a picture of where we stood among our competition. While the committee has much more to do in a number of other areas, we feel the results of that community comparison would be of interest to our membership. 3 of our members, Jane Galantini, Carol Hester, and Judy Newsom, who are here today. Will you please stand, ladies? Thank you. If it gets any darker in here, you're going to lose me. Their efforts included, but was not limited to, viewing other communities' websites, visiting communities, speaking with residents of those communities, both by telephone and in person, visiting real estate websites, speaking with real estate personnel, and weighing each community's surrounding areas. Following the presentation, if you have any questions, please email them to me. I'm sure the ladies will be more than glad to respond. So let me get out of the way and turn this over to the people who did the work. I introduce one of your own, Carol Hester, for the presentation.
Thank you. Judy, Jane, and I are the subgroup of the research in the Community Promotion Committee. We want to give you a quick review of what we have done related to the collection of data to be used in a comparison of other communities with Kings Point. In the category of active adult communities, you can go to slide. That's more than that one. Yeah, that's good. There are 71 developments in Central Florida, 42 of which are in the Tampa Bay area. We started locally and reviewed communities in 9 surrounding counties. We eliminated manufactured homes, continuing care communities, retirement communities that had independent apartments, but they had maid service and meal services. Now we can go to 3. We focused on places that had similar housing units, building methods and materials, and a price range similar to Kings Point. After reviewing the remaining communities, we arbitrarily used 800 units as a cutoff level, feeling that only larger places would have any chance of a fair comparison. We made an exception on size if the community was in a very close location, like Valencia del Sol on 301 or Medley on 674. We have exhausted the data that can be pulled from brochures and the internet. We've talked with realtors and developers representatives, and we've made some site visits. Today we're showing a few of the places we've included in our data collection. Okay, next. We collected information on the fees and other costs of moving into and living in certain communities. These fees are very different community to community, so it's difficult to compare apples to apples. Many communities require a buy-in or capital investment fee of $1,500 or more. Often water, sewer, cable, and internet, and roof replacement and cleaning are not included in the monthly fees. Some places require the owners to spend several $100s a year at the community restaurants. Others charge extra for classes, like exercise classes. Some of the newer communities do not have their amenities in place, and the owners must leave their communities for sports and exercise. We looked at about 30 different amenities, and we found that just about everybody met a certain standard. They all had pools or fitness centers of some sort, gathering places, some eating spots, and sports courts of one variety or another, and many clubs. Newer communities had more luxurious buildings and up-to-date technologies, but when we compared amenities, Kings Point was hard to beat. This graph shows a comparison of the cost, the size of the places and the cost. And that's just for 3 additional areas. I just wanted to show you a brief review. Okay. The Kings Point monthly fees include recreation facility management, just run through this quickly, business office management, cable and internet, water and sewer, trash, landscape irrigation, pest control, free use of the clubhouse meeting rooms, exterior building insurance, liability insurance for officers, recreation and facilities use, reserves for painting, paving, and roofs, repairs and maintenance, building and landscape, tram service, security services, and we're buying our amenities, roads, and ponds. And I've probably forgotten to include a few things in that. So ours are very inclusive fees. There are a few things that we don't have that other places do have, like the lagoon. I don't think we'll ever have a lagoon, but we have to remember that that's unheated for one thing, and that everyone involved in that community can come no matter what the age. It's not restricted, and everyone pays an extra charge. We don't have a beach entry pool, a resistance pool, a tot lot, a fire pit. A lot of places don't have these things, but some have them. These are fairly minor items, and with the exception of the lagoon, they're ones that we can add to the community if the community wants them. What we do have is not only all these things listed above, but we have 6 pools, and they're all heated. Kings Point and Sun City Center are the only 2 places that have indoor pools, but Kings Point has 3 of them. We also have the sports courts and fields. We do not share the amenities with under 55 age owners, as some places do. There are several clubhouses, golf cart travel outside of Kings Point, which a lot of them do not have. 800 plus acres of limited access land, fitness center that rivals any of the newer communities, spa services, limited access because of the gates, and close emergency squad and hospital locations. One big difference is that Kings Point has a variety of housing options at various prices. Most other communities start pricing in the mid to upper 200,000s and go up from there. The newer units in Kings Point have most, if not all, the bells and whistles of the housing of the new communities, including the same Minto floor plans. Conclusion. Kings Point compares well with other, even newer communities because of the range of prices of the houses and the very inclusive monthly fees. Surveys have been done in Kings Point to indicate that most residents are very satisfied with the community. Many people come here because of friend or family referrals. Our amenities are competitive and better than many of the other communities. We need to keep up with new trends and make additions to our community that the owners desire. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think the committee is doing a great job of starting to gather information for us, and it answers a lot of questions, and it gives me a lot of ammunition, as a matter of fact, when people start complaining about what's happening inside the gate. That's only because in many cases you don't know what's happening outside the gates. We live in our own little world, and that's okay. But we need to have that information to see what we compare to. And, you know, I talk to people all the time about going, oh, I'm going to go across the street. All I can say is, go. I've been over there. I'm not impressed. Thank you. I like over here. It's good. Every place is meant for somebody. So we want to find out what we've got, the value we have, understand that more, and utilize it. Get out and do the things we have to do here utilize this place as much as we can. So thank you very much, Rick, and your committee for putting together a good starting point with our analysis and reviews and where we're going. So thank you very much. Next committee, lawn and landscaping. I'm sorry, and thank you, and yes, the committee, thank you very much for your effort and your work. And actually, it occupies Rick's time and keeps him out of my hair somehow, so that's good, that's good. It's very good. Dave, let's go ahead and lawn and landscaping at this point.
The landscape committee's been very active over the last couple months. We implemented a work order system, and Rick Oswald's presentation showed a lot of graphs or charts of what happened, but behind the scenes, what's actually happened is we now have statistics to tell us what's going on in the community as far as work orders. Belle and Susan from First Services have been very diligent and I'll say tenacious in the way they go after follow up on work orders. A couple months ago, the average time span for a work order to be completed was around 14 days. The last month, it's down to 5 days. So you can tell there's a massive difference in the way the turnover on work orders. And Belle, you and your group, thank you very much. The second thing is, we've also, give her, she can have applause. The second thing is the committee has worked very hard to get the quantity part of the monthly OLM review together, and we now have statistics on the deliverables of the contract. And every day we've got Daryl going out looking at what work was completed or not completed, and we are actually including that in their graded review at the end of the month. It's a big change, and it's good for the community. With that, I'm done.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, next person we have on the agenda is Jack Davis with the contract committee.
Good morning, and I hope you enjoyed the cooler weather that we're having for the last couple of days. And I was reading in the paper this morning that we're about to set a record for the number of days that the temperature has not fallen below 70 degrees and how late it has been in the year. If it doesn't fall below 70 degrees by the 19th, we have set a record of the number of days that it doesn't fall below 70 degrees. So enjoy this as it's getting cooler. I want to talk about irrigation services within Kings Point community. There has been a lot of discussions about responsibilities and questions regarding those responsibilities that have been raised in various town hall meetings. So this is what the Federation has been looking at, and this is basically where we're looking at going. You might want to shrink that just a smidgen. The Federation, under the terms of the landscape contract, the landscape contractor is required to identify the areas which are too wet or too dry within your individual association and notify the Federation via First Services of condition. The Master Association, per their motion, which was passed by the membership in November of 15th of 2017, took over responsibility for all irrigation services within the community. This you could consider basically the first step in the consolidation of services under one organization within the community. So as we talk about consolidation, the first consolidation and the first action towards consolidation was this motion put forward on November 15th, 2017. Next slide. The motion specifically said, President Haggerty gave a presentation outlining the history of the irrigation responsibility and the reasons for the Master Association to perform. And these are the minutes that actually, I haven't emphasized the word all irrigation operations and repairs. And he made the motion, it was seconded, that the Master Association agrees to undertake the obligation to operate all irrigation lines within Kings Point, including all lines within individual association effective April 1st of 2018. Prior to April 1st of 2018, it was the individuals association under the landscaping contracts that they maintained the irrigation lines within each individual association. With this motion, it basically removed from the individual associations into the master the responsibility for those individual lines. And in fact, within this motion, the proposed of this motion was completely contingent upon the Federation of Kings Point Association removing irrigation services from all lawn and landscaping contracts that are effective April 1st, 2018. The master requested us to remove all irrigation services. So when you hear that we don't know why the landscaper is not responsible for X or Y when it relates to the irrigation services, this is very clear. We were told and requested, in order for the master to assume the responsibility of the landscaping, of the irrigation services, that we had to remove, and we did remove, all irrigation services from the landscape contracts. Can you go to the next slide? There was a question and answer on this before the motion was passed unanimously by the membership. And there has been many discussions regarding who is responsible for upgrades and enhancements to the irrigation system. And the question was specifically asked, would ITS then be the contractor to perform all enhancements and upgrades? And the answer, and it's attached to the minutes of the meeting, were yes, effective April 1st, 2018. So when you look at enhancement upgrades that your community may need, we were told as individual associations, all 114 associations that are a member of the master, that ITS would be performing all enhancements of that contract. We have heard a great deal about spray and pattern coverage. This is a letter that was sent by the president of the Master Association. And basically in it, the president of the Master Association was questioning whether it was wise for individual associations to be doing plantings or turf replacement until the master completed all irrigation repairs that they had placed in phase 1 and phase 2. They considered them, and the president of the master considered them, repairs, not enhancements. They would consider basically them to be repairs, and spray and pattern was in phase 2. Go to the next page. Basically, within the contract that ITS and the master have, there is a section for additional services that was negotiated in March of 2018 prior to the master taking over the irrigation services. And this is the section from that contract. And if you will notice the first line, that the member associations along with the master may request additional services, including irrigation system upgrades and or design enhancements. So we basically, our associations, when you hear or your association may need an enhancement because an area is too dry or too wet, the master assumed the responsibility and even put into their contract that they would have ITS do this work and that ITS contract calls for what it is, and it also discusses what the specific costs are. And this is basically, within this same section, what they would do is ITS would give a complete description of the proposed work, the estimated total labor cost, in accordance with the fees that are in it, and the estimated cost and repairs for labor. And if the contractor needed to perform repairs, upgrades, or enhancements, and they needed additional personnel, we would pay for that additional personnel. These charges would be specifically paid by the given individual associations. This is what happened in 2017 and became effective in 2018, that basically the Master Association asked for and was given unanimous consent by the membership, which are the associations, and there were 67 associations voting at that time, for them to assume the entire irrigation services in this community, and they were removed from all landscaping contracts. So if you attend town hall meetings and you hear otherwise, this is their motion, this is their contract that they have with ITS. And we need to move forward in this community to have green lawns and healthy bushes, and we basically need to stop pointing fingers and accusing, well, you said you do this or you said you do that. We relied upon the master to take over the irrigation system and to allow the irrigation system to handle the needs of each individual association, and this is the beginning of the consolidation of the two entities together. The landscape contracts are perfectly correct in the way they are and in compliance with the motion that was made. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. I think it's important we all be on the same page and move forward in the correct way. So very good. That was good information that we need to review. Thank you. Frank, do you have anything to bring us up to date on the palm and tree? Eddie?
Yeah, palm tree trimming is ongoing at this time. Started early October. It's currently on schedule or slightly advanced of the schedule. If you want to find out exactly when your community is going to be done or close to it, the schedules are posted on the kpscc.com site under the landscaping section. They're doing a pretty good job so far. I haven't had any complaints. There were a couple of issues when some palm fronds dropped and did a little bit of damage, but those are being taken care of individually. Nothing substantial. The contractor's performing in accordance with the contract and doing very well.
Hey, Frank. Noreen, I know you've got the new committee, the Health and Safety Committee. I think you guys did some meetings with Rudy and Matt.
Yeah, with Matt.
So can you give us a report on that?
Well, what we're looking at, and I know there has been some issues that have been brought to our attention as far as the chairs being able to slide in the card room, which is the bingo room, and they also do mahjong in there. And right now we are looking into a way of what we can do to make the chairs slide. We are researching different options right now, and that's underway. So we've got, right now we're looking at sliders. And the other committee is disaster preparedness. We're having an emergency preparedness meeting. It's not going to be, there's not going to be insurance companies there or anything like that. That's going to be February 28th, 9:30 here in the Veterans. And we encourage you to spread the word and stuff because it's really going to go over everything that will help you to be prepared if we have an emergency, not just a hurricane, but if there's an emergency. So we're going to go over a lot. It's going to be basically, that's all the information that will be there. It's not going to be insurance information if you have this or you don't have that. So I would encourage you to put the word out and everybody to come. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. The preparation is the success of the execution, technically speaking. So A lot of the meetings we had in the past talked about what happened afterwards, and we've got that down pat. Now we need to talk about what we do before, and I think that's a great next session. Thank you. Alan, we have the treasurer's report.
All right, to answer your first question first, yes, last week's surgery to repair the rotator cuff. 6 months is gone, half the year is gone now. Time for the second quarter treasurer's report. As you can see, we have about $457,000 in assets. About $400,000 of that is for reserves. The rest is members' equity. I'll talk more about the reserves as we go on. Next page. And as always, the revenue comes in right on track, right on target. It's just a fixed thing. The overage is mainly interest earnings, $229. The expenditures are well below budget, right on target. As you know, there's just a few basic operating costs that we have there. The next slide, and then this is the reserve report I want to talk about. There's, again, $16,000 in our landscape fund in case something comes up. Skip the insurance, I'll come back to that. Grounds cleanup, we have about $12,000 in that in case something is needed, hurricanes and whatever, things that aren't covered that may need to be done. Our legal fund continues to grow. By the end of the year, it'll be at $25,000, which is the amount that is dictated in our operating procedures. The professional services fund, primarily legal fees, is what we've spent thus far. And there continues, of course, to be those that come up. Contracts fund, there's $82,000. Primarily, the $43,000 is fees that we've held and will be paid, I think, in the next month. Community promotion, we continue to have a balance there, and that money goes on. Reserve, the registration fees, these are the transfer fees that are collected. There's $107,000 in that. Now, go back to the insurance, because we got a good, healthy balance there, because we've been having a good year. As you may recall, a couple of years ago, we had a very bad year, a couple bad years, and we've worked with the insurance, with Gary and the insurance committee. Last year, we increased that by quite a bit. We wanted to maintain about $100,000 roughly in that fund, just to cover things that may come up. It could be up to $4,500 per association. You know, you get 10 of those, and that wipes out half the fund. So we wanted to maintain a balance. As you can see, we are maintaining a balance, and the costs are down quite a bit. And that's good news. Continue to be vigilant, taking care of your homes, each of your units. And the fees, the balance there is about $132,000. And if you attended the last Federation meeting, and at the next membership meeting, you'll be voting on the budget. We're able to reduce the budget and actually maintain, reduce the insurance because of the amounts that we have there. So things are looking up. Things are looking very good. That's my report.
Thank you, Alan. That covers everybody up here except for me at this point. I'm not going to go over too many things. In addition to that, we've had some good committee meetings and some reports from our management companies today. So I'm just going to do a real quick review since we're going into the season again, and there's probably some people that may be new to the property. Who is the Federation? The Federation is 5,525 owners spread across 113 associations, represented in this room by the presidents of the boards. Most of the time, we're one of the board members, and as you look around, you start looking to see how your board members are representing you. We need to be involved. I see the same faces a lot of times. I don't like that. I'd like to see some new faces in the mix and get involved. The 113 associations are actually divided into 9 districts. The reason they did that when they created the Federation was to give equity in voting. I'm the president of Bedford H. We have 24 units, essentially. I live in Manchester too, which has well over 95, maybe bordering on 100. It would take 4 flatbed associations to equal the same voting power as one, maybe Manchester too. So they broke it up into 9 districts, and each one of these people actually represent one of those districts. And we should be interacting with you guys, knowing what's going on, because essentially we oversee. We do not control day-to-day operations, even with our management company. We oversee. We make sure that we're involved in the goal-setting process. We make sure that we're in the review process of how those goals are being played out and executed, what the results are. So I'm just going to share a couple of items that we're kind of on top of, I think, with the oversight, which means review, evaluate, analyze, ask questions, check procedures, inspect operations, and most importantly, it means observe, report, and essentially working with you guys to make decisions that will improve operations if they need to be, or continue them if they're doing well. What we've done so far is improve communications by improving the email access with broadcast. That happened a year ago. We've now broken the TV channels into 2 of them, and I'm working with Rick and Ginger. They're working together to kind of have an operations side of the TV channels and a recreation side of it to get more information so we can put it in the right areas. We've improved the vetting processes and the bidding processes for landscaping and palm. We're controlling the accountability for the management companies in terms of they're stepping up and working harder, and we're actually showing the results, reporting the results, seeing the results, which is good. We certainly tightened the ID process, and Ginger talked this morning about the parking on the grass in the trust area and working on that. We certainly are looking at the surplus and deficiencies. Since we are not-for-profit corporations, our amenities are not necessarily, even if they do have a way of generating revenue, like our bars and our cafes, they're still not looked at as profit and loss. They're looked at surplus and deficiencies. I'm looking at ways to create more surplus, to be more creative there. We're looking at ways to maintain our deficiencies and cap them off so we don't spend as much, and we're working, that's being very successful. Jack Davis was involved very heavily with First Service in reviewing the pest control situation. We've talked about this before. They've got their contractual obligations, and we're working with that, and Jack will keep you informed of that as it goes along. And we're looking at ways to alter that if it doesn't work out like we planned. We're trying to plan ahead. The last thing is, we're reviewing all of our purchasing procedures and processes, including, the trust purchases. We're looking at different ways of bidding and evaluating and reviewing to make sure we're getting what we want, when we want it, and how we want it. And of course, we're looking at now the insurance program that's been, we've been very comfortable for a long time with it, but there has been episodes in the past where Comfort was upset by somebody pushing in, and it actually changed some numbers. So we're looking at new ways of vetting that particular expense and being able to get a better selection process and have at least free market is going to dictate a lot more of our bidding process and make things happen. Albert Einstein said it years ago, insanity was defined as if you do the same thing over and over and over and expect a different result. I hate to say it, sometimes we get comfortable with what we're doing and we expect different results by doing it the same way. I've committed to this community to look at new ways, varying ways, get new people involved as much as possible through committees and other activities. It seems to be paying some dividends right now, and we seem to be getting some things moving in the right direction. So I'm pretty positive about where we're going, and I want everybody to know the beatings will continue until the motivation improves. How about that? That's an old joke. We'll just leave it at that one, though. But also, I'd like to encourage everybody to vote intelligently in the upcoming elections for your board, your individual associations. I mean, we need to select people individually within your association that bring something to the table, and evaluate everybody that's running for the Federation. What do you need? What are we looking for? Where are we going? We need to make those decisions intelligently as we move forward as a community. So thank you very much for that. Thank you. Thank you. At this point, we're on the unfinished business. There is no unfinished business on our agenda today. The new business, which was the presentation that we thank the KPCPC, and you got to say that 3 times fast to get it right. We thank you for your presentation today and helping us get started with some evaluations that will help us move into the future with with this property. That leaves us to good and welfare. Good and welfare, and we did have one person, Dan, you did open forum, but it was not on the agenda, so you can come up for good and welfare if you like.
Ryan?
Yes.
Dan's coming up. May I make an announcement as well? I didn't put this in my report because this was new just in. On Wednesday and Thursday, the 23rd and 24th, the fire department folks will be here checking the suppression system, so there'll be some lifts in the area. So if you're up in the clubhouses, just be careful, try to avoid those areas. Also going to be having some palm trimming around the north clubhouse, portico, and back parking lots will be closed. Also, they're doing some maintenance on the pool. So those dates, the 23rd and the 24th, going to be a lot of activity around the clubhouses. Certainly, you'll find ways in. Just please be careful. I'm sorry, Dave.
Dan?
Dan Page, treasurer at the end of the T. The speed bump when you come in to the gate, the first bump, I came in with my golf cart. I stopped, went over it, it threw me up in the air. Now when I come in, instead of going through the speed bumps, I go through the visitor's gate to bypass those. Also, they put aluminum or stainless steel rails at the ramp at the pool up here at this club.
We're gonna have a town hall afterwards. I think these are more town hall, and the other one was more the master, because we don't do speed bumps. But so if you want to save that to the town hall, we can chat at the town hall meeting immediately after. How about that? Fair enough?
Yeah.
We'll stay on good and welfare, which is in the bylaws, how we do good and welfare, which is announcements. But I get the comments you want to make, and I will let you do that at the town hall. Fair enough?
One comment I'd like to make. End of the T, Brightview has done a fantastic job since you've taken over. I go out and monitor everything, and everything has been perfect.
And we know you do, and thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Any other good and welfare? Mike?
Thank you. If it appears I'm a little nervous, I am. Forrest let me go ahead of him today, which means he's following me with that little cart of his, and I'm a little nervous. This will be the last time that I'm going to talk in front of this group, for a few months anyway, about symposium. Because next Tuesday is the symposium for in here. The 29th, it will be over in the CA. So if you have a doctor's appointment or something, you can make a reservation to go over there as well. This is one of those times when nobody cares about where you go. It's information for the community. We would like to have you, as our behalf of the Sun City Emergency Squad, we want to keep you around. We want to keep you healthy. And that's the way to do it. I would rather go in and see the crew sitting there because everybody is healthy. When they have to go out, means somebody's in trouble. And we would like not to see that. It's going to be on Tuesday here. You need to call for a reservation. I'm going to give you the number, but there's also flyers up here on the table for you. That number is 888-685-1595. If you're calling between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., you can go to option 3 and you will get a live person. It's a lot easier to get somebody to talk back if it's during that time period. Lunch will be provided. That's the reason why we need the reservation, because I want them to have to pony up for a lot of food. So this is the way to do it. There will also be dessert there. You will be out by 3 o'clock because we want to make sure everybody has enough time to get to happy hour. And thank you very much. What do you got there?
Careful, there comes Austin. Forrest. My kid does a great Forrest Gump.
And when I was younger, I could run. Just a few announcements from the COA. Our meeting for next month, November 6th, we're having the president of St. Joseph Hospital South going to speak with the unit owners and anybody that shows up at the meeting, and he'll be speaking about the general services that are offered by St. Joe's and volunteer opportunities. And then he's also going to provide us with an update of the hospital expansion, because I understand they're expanding that hospital up there, and I'm sure that you, being residents of Sun City Center and only 6 miles away, there are opportunities to visit and have services at St. Joe's. So that meeting will be on November 6th, and that starts at 2 p.m. It'll be in the banquet room. The other announcement is our biggest day of the year, and that is Shredding Day. Shredding will be held on Thursday, November 21st, and it's from 9 a.m. to noon. I know Ginger at our last meeting made some reference to the big tie-ups that we had. Maybe we ought to look at placing it someplace else, but right now it's scheduled for the outdoor pool, outside this building here in the parking lot. But if there's a change, we'll make some big announcements so that everybody will be accommodated. Thank you.
Thank you, Doris.
Hello, Ryan.
Hello, Vicki.
I know you hadn't looked this way, so. Actually, I want to thank Rick and the committee. That was excellent information. I know when we make a decision to live somewhere, sometimes you question it, especially when you listen to many of the naysayers, and it's really reassuring to see the value that we get for our money. So thanks for doing all that work. This afternoon, the 2020 building, the fitness, they mentioned at the Zumba class that I went to earlier this week, that they're doing a virtual group exercise class. So there's going to be like a screen, and they're doing a test of it to see if anybody wants to participate in those. And I thought that was a really interesting thing, and I didn't see a tremendous amount of promotion on that. But I think that might be something that you all might be interested in, because I know a lot of the fitness classes take place in the morning. A lot of our business meetings take place in the morning. So you can either choose to be healthy or you can choose to be informed, but it's very challenging to do both around here. So having the virtual classes that can be scheduled in the afternoon might be a way to fix that and to give us some alternatives. So, and I would request from the powers that be, I know they said they were doing a test today, and I can't make it today, but if they can do maybe a couple other dates, that would be really, might be helpful, and if you can announce that, that would be wonderful. A big thank you to everybody who attended the Viva Las Divas show. It was a unique show, and I want to do a special shout out to the staff and the chef. I got so many comments about how great the food was and how well the evening flowed, and how much they appreciated it, so thank you all for coming out. A suggestion was made. I run a Kings Point Fun and Entertainment Facebook page where I try to announce like what's happening, what dances are up, and I don't keep up with it as much as I should, but I encourage that if you belong to a club that is doing a dance or something fun, an activity, fun and entertainment, ergo the name, you're more than welcome to post that on that page, and we have almost 400 people who follow that page, and it's growing every day, so please make those announcements. A suggestion was made, and I'll share it with you, Ginger, and I guess maybe the Rules Committee, but someone had suggested the possibility of changing the resident-only events to possibly adults-only event, which really doesn't handle the, gee, we may not have enough chairs situation, but they suggested it because they said a lot of times they have guests that would be interested in living here, and those are the types of events that draw them to want to buy here, and they can't bring them. So just a thought on there. And lastly, Sunset Social Group was gonna do a gazebo concert today. The weather when I walked in here did not look promising. I haven't looked outside since the meeting started, so if it's still nasty, dreary, rainy, we won't be doing it. If it clears, and we'll know that about 1 or 2 this afternoon, then we'll be out there from 6 to 8 tonight, so bring your golf cart, don't bring a car to park on the grass, park at the North Club if you want, bring your picnic, bring your, whatever. We usually have a really good time. You'll see us setting up around 3. So if you don't see us setting up around 3, it's because the weather rained us out, and we'll try to get you another date. Thank you.
Thank you. Don't ever say I go along again, okay? All right, any other good and welfare announcements? We are having a town hall meeting after this session. We'll adjourn, and that's for everybody. Anybody in the bleachers, anybody in here. Then you don't have to be on the board or whatever. Anybody in the bleachers, town hall meeting for Federation issues and questions and answers for our board members at that point. So, motion to adjourn? Second? All those in favor? You are adjourned. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate it.